Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today's Tuesday, July 25th. It is 6:19 right now. Market's gonna open in about 11 minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this here real quick and we'll get started shortly. Just got a couple of things here to update and we should be good to go. There's a few more things here. All right, looks like we're good to go. Let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. And we can get started. It's like people are making their way in right now. All right, guys, morning, everybody. Today's Tuesday, July 25th. It is 6:21 right now. Market's going to open in about 9 minutes. So I'll give it a few more moments for people to make their way in. And then we will get started shortly with our analysis for today. It's got a couple of things here to update. And we should be good to go. Quick. All right, guys. Looks like majority of you guys are here so far. Let's see who's here so far. JC, or sorry, Casey. Morning, Casey. Morning, Surin. Morning, Johnny. Morning, Karen. Morning, Ben Harwig. Morning, Maria. Morning, Brian. Morning, Shannon. Morning, Kaner. Morning, Daniel. Morning, Talanji. Morning, Shiv. Morning, Shannon. Morning, everybody. All right, guys. So just a reminder, guys, I'm not really going to be answering any questions during these live sessions. We're going to be mainly focused on trading. So if you guys have any questions, you guys can ask them at the end, or you guys can just review the previous mentoring sessions. We just want to keep our focus on trading throughout these sessions. We don't want to waste too much time answering, basic questions. If you guys are new, go back and review the course. If you still have questions, review the mentoring sessions. We cover pretty much everything during the mentoring session. So you should have no problem finding the answers to your questions there. But again, during these live sessions, just if you have questions, you're free to ask them, but I'm probably not going to answer them until the end. So just keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and mark up the liquidity right now. So we got the weekly liquidity marked up right there. We got the daily liquidity marked up right here. I'm using my high-low indicator to identify liquidity here. We've got the 8-hour right there. And you guys can see, like, if I'm not answering questions, guys, it's so much easier for me to just get through this stuff. So I'm just going to focus on mainly analyzing and looking for entries here. And it's just beneficial for everyone here, so we don't miss any trades. So I think there's a 4-hour, go down to the 2-hour here. An hour. $30-minute. 15-minute. 10-minute. There's actually not a lot of liquidity marked up around here, so we don't really have much liquidity nearby. So, all right, I've marked up all the liquidity right there. As you guys can see, closest level of liquidity is going to be up top. The lower level liquidity is pretty far off. So the closest level of liquidity is going to be right here, which is about 630 pips away. It's not too far away. It's a little far, but it's not that far. It's close enough. So that's going to be the closest level of liquidity right there. It's going to be the I don't even know what level it is, but it's a higher level, so it could be useful. So I don't know if we'll get that on open, but it'll probably be a regular liquidity once we get into full swing. Hey, Dan, morning. Morning, Christy. Morning, Matthew. Sharon said that mentoring session from yesterday was epic, still going through it. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen the mentoring session from yesterday or Monday, I believe, we went pretty deep into detail. Yeah, yesterday was Monday, sorry. We went pretty deep into detail regarding liquidity and the 5-minute momentum pullback scalp. So if you guys haven't seen the mentoring session from yesterday, review that. We covered a lot of stuff there. So you guys can have a pretty much detailed breakdown with examples of the strategies we're applying here on the live session. Hey, Randy, morning. Morning, Kevin. All right, guys, so market is about to open in about 4 minutes. Let me go and check. I think there was news at 5:30 this morning. We had news at 5:30 over here. Core retail sales, both negative. That was right here at 5 o'clock, or 5:30 actually. So 5:30. Right there. So we had news at 5:30. We have more news at 6, or we had news at 6:15. 6:15, which was and these candles have been kind of weird pre-market. 6:15 right there, which was the industrial production month over month, negative, capacity utilization, negative. 7 o'clock, we have business. Oh, sorry, this isn't even the right calendar. My bad. Actually, we don't have any news until we had news at 6, and then we have news over here at 7. So we had some loan pack news, which is positive at 6. Let me just clean this up again. 6 o'clock right here. And then we have more news coming up over here at 7. Time pack news, CB consumer confidence, Richmond manufacturing index at 7 o'clock. So I'm gonna mark that up over here as well. Other than that, I think that's about it. Yeah, that's all the news for today. So looking over here at overall bias, we currently have retail sentiment, which is 78% short. So we're probably going to look for some buys long term today. This indicates that 78% of retail traders are currently selling right now. So we typically want to do the opposite and buy. Looking over here at the fundamentals are currently neutral right now, set at negative 33 points, which is not too much. Looking over here at the technicals, price is pretty much mixed. Lower time frames over here is bearish. You can see prices below the pivots, and the trend meter is red on the 1 minute, 5 minute, and 10 minute time frames. Over here on the higher time frames, price is pretty much in between and pretty much neutral. So neutral on the higher time frames, bearish on the lower time frames. Pretty much a mixed bag here. Long term looks bullish, but it's pretty mixed right here with regard to technical. So I think long-term price will be going up, but I do like that the overall bias here is a bit mixed. So it gives us opportunity to take entries here as price continues to obviously move along. So with that said, we will be looking for some entries here as price continues to move along. However, there's not really much for us to work with right now at the moment. So today's overall bias, retail sentiment, bullish. Market is now open, guys. 78% short. Fundamental bias. Neutral. 33 points. Short-term technicals. Bearish. Long-term technicals. Neutral. All right. So it's pretty much what we got for right now, guys. Not really too much to look at. Price obviously is spiking around right now. It's not close to any liquidity. Liquidity's up here up top at 35,613. So it's got a bit of a way to go, about 60 points or 600 pips, whatever you want to consider it. It's pretty far from where price needs to be. From this morning, the 1 hour entry over here hit for the 5 o'clock. There was no entry over here for the 6. Or there was, but obviously we don't take the 6 o'clock one, as I mentioned before. But yeah, other than that, we're just going to wait for price to kind of stabilize here a bit. And then once we have that, we'll take a look closer. So let me see if I can zoom out here a little bit. All right, so I personally think price is going to push up a little bit. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to mark up the levels. You guys can see the ATR down below is about 9 points. It's very slow right now. It's not really moving very much. Again, as I mentioned before, guys, we need the ATR to be above 15 points before we start looking for actual entries. So right now, it's not really a big deal. We're going to be waiting for a bit of a confirmation before we start looking for entries here. But I'll start marking up the levels. I mean, the levels are pretty spread out too. So you guys can see the volatility today is very, very low. All right, so this is where price is pretty much moving right now. We don't really care if price goes up, price goes down. I mean, we're really just looking for the ATR here to pick up. Because if the ATR doesn't pick up, then there's not really going to be opportunity for entry, at least not yet. Hey James, morning. Morning CJ, morning Kenny. Morning everybody. All right, so it looks like everybody's here. We're just waiting for, market to give us something. There's nothing for us to take right now. We're going to basically wait for market to stabilize a bit. 7 o'clock is when news is happening. So I think price may bounce around a bit until 7 o'clock. Once 7 hits, we're probably going to get a little bit more volatility because we do have some news coming up at that time. 7 o'clock, we have Richmond Fed Manufacturing Shipments Index, Richmond Fed Services Index, CD Consumer Confidence. This is the medium impact news. And then Richmond Fed Manufacturing Index as well over here for July. So 1 medium impact news and 3 low impact news. So we'll see what happens here. I think eventually price will push up. I think that's where price is aiming to go. Right now, they're luring in some more sellers. So price might just bounce around where it's currently at right now. And then eventually it's going to swing right back up. So let me mark up opening price right here, 630. So we got news right there. And there's not really much going on here. Let me go over here to the clean chart. You guys can see how messy the market is right here. I'm going to go and mark up opening price. So opening price was right there, 630. We're trading till about 8. Opening price is going to be right there. So there's not really too much going on right here. I mean, so I'm just going to draw the structure where price is ranging right now. It's basically where price is ranging right now. It's not really doing anything. So this is a clean chart. As you guys can see, there's not really much going on. Price is just going sideways. When new structure is built, I'll draw new structure, but right now you can see prices going back and forth. My guess is that price is going to push up. I mean, that's where I see price going because retail sentiment is still very low. So I think price is going to push up eventually. It might not happen right now, but eventually it's going to push up. That's where I expect price to go. But you can see right here that price is still spiking around. Not really too much of a direction right now. So we just got to sit tight. Just got to sit tight and wait for some sort of confirmation. So you can see where price keeps getting pulled back to. Price will push away from the opening price right here, and then it pulls right back to it. It'll push down, go back to it, push up, go back to it. This is basically baseline for price today specifically. That blue line. So if price ever pulls away from it, you can expect it to possibly come back to that price point at some point. Yeah, exactly. Maddie said trap Tuesday. So let's take a look at the ATR again. ATR is starting to pick up a little bit. It's now at 13. It's still not above 15. So, we still got to give it some time. But right now, there's not really too much going on as we continue to wait for this to catch its stride. All right, ATR is still at 13. We'll see in the next couple of candles. Got to give it some time. So again, you guys want to base your ATR off the 1 minute. The 5 minute is cool, but the 5 minute incorporates a lot of big candles prior. So it's not going to be too accurate with regard to current movement because we're trying to get into these scalps. So the 1 minute is going to be more important. ATR is starting to pick up now. It's now at 14. We'll see if it stays up. I mean, if it stays up, then great. We can start looking for some possible entries, but the movement here is still very slow. So we need this to actually pick up a little bit before we start looking for entries here. All right, so here's a clean chart. You guys can see price still has not closed past its structure yet. So you guys can see I drew the structure right here. Price just keeps bouncing back and forth. I wouldn't be surprised if this crashes right back down and goes back to opening price. So it's just a bunch of fake outs here. It's just a bunch of fake outs until it starts to determine like, okay, this is where price is likely to go. Obviously, I think price is going to push up, but I don't think it's going to be such an easy push because sentiment's been super high all week. So you can see how price is coming back down. Again, we're just waiting for this to confirm direction and look where price went to. So if you guys remember earlier, I mentioned when price pulls back, it's going to push right back to the opening price, right? That blue line. And that's exactly where price went. Price pushed up to fake out, came right back down to opening price, faked out again. Now I wouldn't be surprised if it goes right back up. So look where price came back to. The same blue line that I've been mentioning where you guys are going to see price pull back to every single time. So price came down, pulled back up. Price pulled up, came back down. Price came down, went back up. You just need to wait for price to break out of this area, break out and close, and continue. So, I mean, right now it's not really much going on. The ATR is picking up though. So you can see over here, it's now at 15. So we're starting to have some sort of volatility. It's not a lot, but it is picking up, which is a good thing. I think price will continue going sideways until we get closer to news price at 7. It might start picking up before. It's going to be pre-news movement. But other than that, we're just gonna have to sit tight and wait. There's not enough volatility anyways to really take anything here. The last thing you want to do is take a trade and then price pulls right back because that's what it seems like it's going to be doing. You can see again over here on the clean chart, price will push up a little bit and then it pulls right back. You end up going into some deep drawdown. Make sure I'm logged into my account. Top step accounts locked in. All right, looks good. All right, so still no movement right here. See, the ATR is still at 15. We got about 20 minutes till news at 7 o'clock. So again, we're gonna be patient, waiting for some confirmation here. Here we go, as price comes back down a little bit. All right, the ATR dropped back down and went back to 14. It's back at 15. So until price starts really moving away from where it's currently at, it's going to stay at about 15. So, I mean, we're probably gonna have to wait for this, and you can see where price is going. Look where it's going to. But did it go back to that blue line? Exactly. It rejected directly off the blue line. So just keep that in mind, guys. If you guys are looking for these fake outs, it's probably gonna fake out right back to this blue line right here. It's just luring in some sellers. Yeah, like what Maddie said. They're just luring in some sellers here so people will chase it and then they'll just spike price up. Right now, obviously, you can see it just keeps pulling back to opening price right here. So it fakes out right here, pulls right back down. And then I wouldn't be surprised if it goes right back up, or if it pulls back down and then goes right back up. But this blue line right here is open price. It's just going to keep pulling back to it until it's really ready to push away from it. I don't think it's ready to push away from it yet. It just fakes out in both directions. So like if you measure the range right here, depending on how big your stop loss is, the range is about 25 points, which is 250 pips. So if you're playing around in this range right here, and your stop loss is really tight, it can easily stop you out in either direction. That's why we're not really messing with the market right now. Yeah, Maddie said going to wait for real direction and sentiment to increase on the short side. So sentiment changed a little bit. It's down to 77%. Again, if this goes up to 78%, this means that more people are hopping onto the sell side right now. A few people pulled out or they got stopped out. It was at 78 prior, now it's at 77. We'll see how this number here changes. This is probably gonna be the most important confluence because the fundamentals here are pretty much flat. As you can see over here, fundamentals are currently at 0. There's nothing there. Yeah, there's nothing else here. Let's see what's going on with the live news over here. It says Dow is a little changed after 11-day rally as traders assess earnings. Live updates. Stocks were a little changed Tuesday. Yeah, there's not really much of a change here. You can see over here that it's pretty much just flat. It's not really too much. Earnings were released already, so that's where all the movement happened from last week and this week. For the most part, price is literally doing nothing. So here's a clean chart again. Look where price is going. I wouldn't be surprised if this comes back to that blue line. Look where it touches. So it's coming down right there. I wouldn't be surprised if it touches or even comes below it, but it just keeps coming right back to this area right here. Basically, if price comes back to this area, it just identifies and confirms that there's not really much movement. It's just manipulation. Price pushes away, comes right back, pushes away, comes right back. And look where price is going. Went exactly to the blue line again, which is opening price. So pretty much we need price to push away from this area. So until we get price to really push away from this blue line, so we need price to either push up and away from it or push down and away from it. It doesn't matter which direction it goes because we can trade in either direction, but we need a direction, right? There's just no direction here. So just keep that in mind, guys. Don't take any trades until price is away from this blue line, opening price. And you have to make sure that it's actually away from it, not like a little fake out like this right here, because price can easily just push slightly away from it and then come right back down. Or price can push slightly away this direction and come right back up, right? You don't want to be stuck in that. Yeah, Patricia said weirdly very flat and low volume, right? Especially for market open, you'd expect at least some movement here. So if you look at where price moved from open right here, it's only pushed away about 200, about 200 pips or 24 points. So there hasn't really been much movement. Typically on open, there's at least like 300, right? 300 to 500. Both directions right here. To the bottom, moved about 25 points, to the top about 24 points. So not really much direction here. This is just traps being set up right here. I think they're trying to lure in people and identify where people are sitting. So like if there's more people on the sell side, they're gonna pretty much go back and forth and then spike price up to stop everybody out. Or if there's more people on the buy side, they're gonna spike price down and stop everybody out down there, right? You don't want to be caught in that trap. We're gonna sit back and wait, and we're just gonna watch until the market actually shows us something, and then we'll start moving in that direction. But right now, there is no confirmation, like at all. So I can even make adjustments over here because, I mean, that structure there is not even relevant anymore. There goes the structure now. Or actually, that structure is not even relevant either. There we go. Yeah. So there we go. As price kind of bounces around, you can see people are getting stopped out on both sides. People are getting stopped out who are chasing the buys. People are getting stopped out who are chasing the sells. It's just a back and forth movement right here. CERN said tomorrow it might move. I think there's more news tomorrow, right? Isn't tomorrow Fed day? So let's see, Wednesday. Yeah, tomorrow's Fed day. So tomorrow we have the FOMC statement, federal funds rate, FOMC press conference, a lot of Fed news tomorrow. So tomorrow we're for sure going to have a lot of movement. Today market's kind of flat. I mean, eventually we're going to have some movement. It's not going to stay flat the entire day. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to eventually have some movement, but I think right now it's going to be pretty much flat for the most part. Yeah, Randy said hopefully the news becomes a catalyst. I think so too. I mean, that's the only thing that can really push price today, right? We have high impact news right here, CB consumer confidence. This is happening in about 14 minutes with Richmond Manufacturing Index. So this is going to be the key thing to really push price. You know, we just got to wait and be patient for that. Hopefully that will that'll help. I think it will, but again, it's just going to take some time before we can really confirm anything here. Solange is asking, what is NASDAQ 100? What do you mean, Solange? Let's see, Solange said, my bad, that was a Google search to find out how relevant it would be right now. NASDAQ 100 is completely different, Solange, so it doesn't necessarily affect US30. NASDAQ 100 is the top tech stocks. US30 and YM are the top 30 stocks in the US. So, gotcha, okay. Yeah. Yeah, they're different. They're like complete opposite. So like, you'll see a lot of people who just trade NASDAQ. You'll see a lot of people who just trade S&P, or a lot of people who just trade YM, which is US30. For me, I like trading US30 because the volatility is always high. S&P is a bigger index, so it doesn't move as quick and it's cheaper to trade. Same with like NASDAQ. NASDAQ is a good in between for both. I personally don't like trading it because I'm so used to US30, but yeah, I think if you guys want to trade indices, probably just stick to one. If you want to trade futures and indices, stick to one and then just master that. Like stick to YM, which is US30 like I do, or stick to ES, which is S&P, or stick to NQ, which is NASDAQ. Or if you want to trade gold, stick to gold, right? There's some people who just trade gold. If you want to trade gold futures, you can do that too. But what I recommend is to just stick to one thing and then master that one thing. Like I didn't get good at trading US30 from like trading all these other assets. I just got good at US30 because that's what I trade. Gotcha. Yeah. Solange said, yeah, NASDAQ is flying. So we want to know how relevant it was. It's probably just a specific stock because the thing is they were changing the NASDAQ. So like the index for the NASDAQ was shifting. They're switching out different stocks. Like, it's the top 100 stocks. They basically took out a couple and they put a couple in. So that's why it's flying, because there's new stocks that are within the NASDAQ. They reported that last week that they were going to be making adjustments to NASDAQ. It was just that they figured that it was too concentrated with a certain basket of stocks. So they just ended up shifting it out so that they can balance out the index a little more. So that's why that's probably why it's flying, because they have new stocks that are in it. The thing with US30 is that they don't change it very often. That's why I like trading US30. Like they rarely trade the stocks within YM or US30. So the movement is always going to be, it's always going to be pretty persistent. It's not going to be like changing super crazily. I think Nasdaq is probably one of the crazier ones because they trade that all day. So if you like to trade like all day, Nasdaq's probably the asset you want to trade because that thing is volatile all throughout the day. Because they have other companies that are in that index that are like more well-known internationally versus, you know, obviously US30. All right, so Maddie said the retail sentiment is changing. Yeah, so it looks like the sellers are pulling out right now. I think a lot of people are getting scared and they're just pulling out of their position. With this morning, or like, so during London session, it was like 82%. It went from 82 to 80 to 78 to 77 and now 76. So it's starting to shift a bit. It doesn't really make a big difference for us guys because whether price is going up or down, it doesn't matter. We're still going to be trading because we can trade in either direction with regard to this momentum pullback scalp strategy. So we're just following overall bias. It doesn't matter if retail sentiment super bullish or super bearish. I mean, obviously we would want to trade in the direction of bias, but it's not very necessary. So I don't really care where price goes. I just want to make sure that there's a direction for us to trade in. Right now, there's still no direction. You can't really see too much here because this chart's kind of messy, but going over here to the clean chart, you can see that there's literally no direction. And you can see where price keeps getting pulled to, opening price, that blue line. So again, right there, it's right back to where I just mentioned earlier. It's just basically wiping people out in both directions. We have about 9 minutes until high impact news. So we're going to wait for that. I think that's going to be the catalyst. Hopefully that pushes price away and it continues pushing that direction. Let's see what the news is again. So news over here is going to be for the CD consumer confidence. So they're forecasting it to be 112. Last month was 109, which will be positive. And I know that because if you click on this right here, it says actual greater than forecast is good for currency. So with that said, they are forecasting it to be greater. If the number is a little bit higher, then it's going to be positive, and I think that's going to push price up. Same with the Richmond Manufacturing Index. They're forecasting to be -9. It says actual greater is for the forecasting to be better for the economy. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in the next 9 minutes or so, but there's really no direction here right now. Again, this is a clean chart. Clean chart pretty much speaks for itself. There's not really too much going on here. Yeah, Maddie said it hasn't pushed more than 25 points in either direction, super flat. Yeah, exactly. So that's the good thing that we have the ATR here, because, you know, if we didn't have the ATR, we wouldn't really be able to confirm that price is really that flat. I mean, it looks like price is moving, but realistically, it just looks like it's moving because we're on the 1 minute time frame. A lot of these candles are moving, but it's not really much of movement. Like price is going up and down, but it's not necessarily moving in any direction. So the ATR is still at 15, which is very unusual for market open. You know, typically on market open, the ATR is like 20, 30 points. It's super high. I think this is the slowest open I've seen in, I can't even remember the last time market was this slow and open, which is very unusual. You can see right here, the numbers actually getting smaller. ATR is getting down to 14. It's a weird market today. I don't remember the last time I've seen it this slow. The last time I've seen it this slow is during a holiday. So during a holiday when the market's actually closed, the market's not closed today. So it should be moving. I think the only time I've seen this like this slow has been probably not even like a normal holiday, probably around Christmas. It's around Thanksgiving, Christmas, when a lot of the markets are closed. This is what the movement looks like. But it seems like a lot of people are just waiting for news, just like what Patricia just said. So, all right, guys, just sit on your head, like sit tight, guys. Don't hop into anything just yet. I probably won't hop into anything until the ATR gets closer to like 19. Because I need it to be like consistently away from 15. It can't be like stuck around that area. Maria's asking, you said yesterday at mentoring session that you will be sending us the explanation video about ATR. I don't remember saying that, Maria. Did I say that, guys? Sorry, I don't remember ever saying that I was going to give you guys a video about ATR. Nadia said not ATR. Shiv said don't think so. Yeah. So Rick said it was a video about the good prop firm traders. Yeah, that's the video I was going to send you guys. I do have that video, but let me see if I can find it. Yeah, you guys can watch this later. Let me see. I think I sent it to Gion over here. I swear I sent it to Gion. Might have texted it to you. Aaron's on here. Aaron, where you at, Aaron? Coughing Aaron is on here right now. Let me get that link. Do you have that video? If you could send it to me, but oh, never mind, I got it. It's right here. Okay, I'll send it to you guys here in the premium group. So, all right, Maria. So I sent it over there in the premium group. You can go check it out if you guys want to see it. He basically went down like the numbers and like explained like who's actually successful when prop trading, and like how the successful people trade, because they have like actual data on like who's like consistent and what they do differently from everybody else. So yeah, if you want to check that out, Maria, I sent it in the group. I could probably forward it to you as well. Oh, there, you got it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you need a video on ATR, I can probably find a video for you, Maria, but ATR is very simple. You don't really need an explanation for it. It just shows you what the average true range is, like what price is moving within the range of candles. So like, you can set the settings. Default settings is 14. So it basically looks back to the previous 14 candles and it identifies what the range is for that specific time period. So yeah, ATR is not really, I can explain it to you myself. It's not really difficult to understand. But if you need a video, just let me know, or you can YouTube it. There's a ton of videos out there explaining, ATR. Let's see. Talanji's asking, do market makers ever lose money for pushing price up just because sentiment is? I mean, market makers and institutions don't really lose money in the market. They control the market. So I mean, they know where everybody's trading. So if they trade opposite of everybody, they get a free stop loss hunt. They create the stop loss hunts basically. So, I mean, I'm sure market makers lose money if they go against each other, but most of the time these market makers are working with each other. So they don't necessarily lose money, right? They're all manipulating the market together. So like they all know, okay, the retail traders are trading in a certain direction, so they want to push price the other way. Typically, if the sentiment is super low, it's not 70% wouldn't be considered low, Talanji. That's still kind of high. If the sentiment is around 50%, that's usually where the market's not really moving too much. It kind of just goes sideways, right? Right now, the market's 76% short, right? It's been like 70 to 80% short for a long time now. So if you look over here, and let me just take everything off the chart. So for the past couple of weeks now, price has been. So if you go back to right here, March 15, right? So if you go from March 15, this is where the low happened. The sentiment's been pretty high for like the past couple of weeks. Sentiment's been high for probably maybe the past 3 weeks. So right now it's probably for the first week of July, right? So first week of July is right here. So whoever's been selling, the market makers just keep pushing price up. So they just keep making money off these people who are getting stopped out, right? If you measure this right here, price from the first week of July has pushed up about 17,000 pips or 1,700 points. It's a lot of pips, right? Typically a normal retail trader doesn't have that much, but they don't have that big of a stop loss to basically survive this. So, yeah, I mean, they're not gonna make stupid, like if the retail sentiment is super high, they're not gonna trade with retail. That makes zero sense. It even says right here, Wall Street's bullish, right? So, I mean, like they're bullish because retail traders are short. So, I mean, they wouldn't trade opposite of what everybody else is, like what Wall Street's trading or the market makers, they would do the opposite of the retail trader. Yeah, Talanji said, I'm probably thinking too far into it. Yeah, I think you're just overcomplicating it. Like really, you could do your own research on like where market makers trade. They typically trade opposite of retail traders because retail traders don't do very well with trading. Um, so yeah, I mean I mean, you think about it. If you're a market maker, would you really trade with a retail trader and you know that they usually lose? You probably wouldn't, right? You do the opposite. It's just basic logic, right? Just think of it logically. Um, yeah, exactly. C6 said the average person will never know. That's the point of a market maker because they create liquidity in the market. Like the thing is, retail trader is not going to push price around. They're just going to have their stops kind of sitting. Um, but the market makers are who comes around and wipes them out. So here we go. As price pushes back down, I think they're just going to lure in some more sellers. Here's a news candle, actually. The news candle landed directly on open price. So it was literally at open price. That's where the news candle was. I'm going to go and clean this up right here. Hopefully we get some volatility here so we can start looking for entries. But if not, I mean, we're just going to sit tight. There's no need to force anything right now until we actually have some sort of direction. Rashida said a V1 just hit, also pending momentum scalp, but didn't take it. Yeah, and I wouldn't take it either, Rashida, especially with the ATR so low. And it happened like right on news, I think, right? Oh, there was one right here, I believe. So this is the one that you were talking about. Rashida's talking about the V1 variation that came up right here. There's a double body that happened right there. If you look at the ATR was 14. You could set your ATR to 14 right there for a 1-to-1. Would have been a full TP right there with little to no drawdown. So the ATR will, like you can use the ATR to take a 1-to-1 for these V1 variations. This is kind of what I was trying to show you guys yesterday. I mean, there's a couple entries here. There's another V1 variation right here as well. So see how price had a double body right there. ATR right there would have been 15. Another full TP. So you guys can use the ATR to pretty much make any of my strategies a 1-to-1 risk reward. You just have to check what the ATR is at a specific time period. There was 2 V1 variations right there, one right there, one right there, the ones that Rashid identified, and they all pretty much hit. Talanji said the news was positive. Yeah, this is why I don't trade news, because you can see over here, even though the news was positive, so CB consumer confidence was 117. It was very positive, actually. Richmond Manufacturing Index was neutral. And this over here pretty much just did the opposite. So you can see over here that the retail traders are now up again. So there's more sellers on the retail side. So I think price is going to swing back up. I think these people are going to get wiped out. That catalyst right there was to lure in some sellers. I don't think price is going to continue dropping. I think price is going to correct back up eventually. Might not happen right now, but I think eventually it will correct back up. Let's see. Yeah, Maddie said 77% short now, stacking sellers. I would like a manipulated drop, then move back up. But if there's no entries, I'm cool with that as well. Yeah, I mean, the main thing I'm looking for, guys, is the ATR. The ATR still hasn't picked up. If you look down here, it's still at 14. So until that picks up, I'm not even bothered looking for any entries here. Because the thing is, if the ATR is so low, we're not going to be able to take any entries, right? Because it's just going to keep going back and forth between these whole numbers. But it's not necessarily going to fill, then come down and hit. It's just kind of, it's going to keep going back and forth. So yeah, I mean, the main thing I'm looking for is confirmation. So I get a confirmation, I'm just going to sit tight and wait for something there to come up. Yeah, Patricia said it'll pick up in like 15 minutes. I agree, Patricia. I think when you get closer to like 7:30-ish, the volatility will pick up. I think a lot of people are going to react to the news here. So in my opinion, I think price will come down a little bit and then it'll come right back up and stop everybody out. Kind of like what Maddie was just referring to earlier. I mean, that's basically what I see happening here. The 1 minute here is kind of pointless, but I'm going to leave it up because we're going to use the ATR. Because it's just too much. It's just messy right here. If you focus on the 5 minute here, the movement's a lot cleaner. but the ATR is not really going to give you the true movement of price, right? So the ATR here is 19, but that's because it takes into consideration 14 of these 5-minute candles. So I mean, if you do the math, 14 of those 5-minute candles, so 14 times 5, that's 71-minute candles. That's over an hour. We don't really care what's happening an hour ago. We care what's happening right now because we're scalping. So that's why the ATR doesn't really mean too much on the 5-minute. It means more on the 1-minute here because we're scalping. We're not really looking for these intraday trades. I mean, it wouldn't matter because even if we were looking for entries here on the 5, there's still no entries for us to take right now. Price is still going back and forth. I mean, technically there was an entry right here at 6:30 on open. So price came down right here. The retracement happened right here. The entry technically would have happened right here. But obviously we wouldn't take that because that's on open. So I mean, if the entry was taken right there, would have been caught in this manipulated push. All right, so it looks like sentiment is back to 76. It looks like there's just not really much movement in the market, or there's not really people getting in and out. So there's not too much liquidity. So let's see if this drops further down. So technically, if you're looking for an entry here on the 1-minute, there's so much a mess right here. So I don't know if we have ever taken any of these trades here, but say, for example, if we just confirm that this was a direction to the downside, actually, we don't even have a sell signal there. I might take that back. I thought there was a sell signal there, but there wasn't. All right. It's like we're just waiting. Let's go back to the clean chart. So here's a clean chart. I drew this on open and it still hasn't pushed out of it. So we drew this market, we drew these structures over here when market first opened, and price still hasn't broken out of this area. Still kind of going back and forth. Maddie over here said sellers are scared from yesterday and last week. I know. I mean, it's crazy because the sellers kept stacking from last week and price just kept going up. Like looking at this over here, like not even on the daily time frame. If you look on the 1 hour, like it's crazy because the sentiment kept going up. Like people kept adding sells and prices kept going up higher and higher and higher. So whoever was entering those trades just kept getting stopped out and they would just keep stacking onto those sells, which is crazy. So for the past couple of weeks, let's see, we're July 25th. Basically, it was like first week of July. So like basically around this time right here is where people started stacking sells. So I think people started stacking sells where they saw like the high points getting hit. So a high point hit got hit right here. People started stacking sells and then price pushed back up. And then I think this is where a lot of sellers started going crazy because I think what happened here was a lot of people thought this was a double top and it wasn't because there were so many sellers on the market. So right here, you can see it was a double top, right? So I think a lot of people entered sells right here and they just or it was a triple top actually right here. I think this is what really wiped people out because they just got too stubborn and they kept thinking, okay, this is going to be the top. And then price just ended up blasting right through. And I think what happened here was people never decided to pull out. They just held on to it. Because the thing is, when price was right here, people are earning sales like, okay, it's going to drop. Double top, it's going to drop. Triple top, it was going to drop. And then from here, price just ended up shooting to the upside. But if you guys have been following my live sessions every day, this sentiment's been pretty high for the past, basically the whole month of July. We've been looking for buys all month. If you look at any of our trades, they've pretty much been all buys and they've all been hitting. So, it is what it is, right? That can never be us because we're never going to get caught in the market like that. We don't really trade like that. So we don't get caught in the emotional trading. We're scalping here. So it's not really, we don't get caught in stuff like that. All right, so price is pushing back up right here. This is a good thing because this is what we were looking for. The ATR just needs to get a bit higher. It's still low. Here's a clean chart. Price came right back to opening price. I'm at an ATR over here too, so we can just follow it. Yeah, the ATR is still at 13 points. All right, we're just gonna wait a bit longer. It's currently 7:09 right now. I mean, we've seen a market like this. When the market moves slow like this, it starts to pick up around 8. So hopefully around 7:30, we're gonna have some direction, and then from there, we can maybe at least catch one trade. Yeah, because the volatility right now is just trash, not really moving too much. Here goes, price pushes up above the opening price. So technically right here on the 5-minute, there's an entry that's technically running right now for the, I mean, I wouldn't take this, but if the ATR was higher, this would technically be the position right here that'd be running on the 5-minute. So price push down right here. We had a retracement. We had a sell signal right there. Overall direction is bearish right here. Price retraced up. Price closed right here at the 58 mark. Entry would happen at the 60. ATR is currently 19. So this would be an entry right here for the 5-minute time frame. Not one that I'm in, but you know, if the ATR was higher, I would probably take this trade. Because the ATR over here on the 1-minute is still at 14. So yeah, not a position I would take, but this would technically be one on the 5-minute here that would be actually running right now. It actually was pretty decent. It pushed down pretty solid. It filled the entry right there, and it dropped down about like 8 points. Not a lot, but you know, it still hit the marker right there. So there goes, price pushes down a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it actually hits. I wouldn't want to be in this position if the volatility is so low. Like again, right here, if we were taking this position, we would be in this position now for about 3 minutes. Typically for these scalps, you want them to hit right away. Like we want them to hit within, you know, 1-2 minutes, 3 minutes max. I think this position will probably run for maybe, you know, 10-20 minutes, maybe even up to an hour, maybe up until 8, because the volatility right here is just not there. So I'm not in this position. I just wanted to mark it up to show you guys where a possible entry could have happened if the volatility was up higher. Again, we want to look at the ATR down here. It's currently 13, so it's too low. The last thing you want to do in a scalp is be stuck in it. A scalp move is not supposed to be held for that long. I think the longest scalp move we've held was probably like 10 or 12 minutes. And that thing went into deep drawdown before it dropped right back into profit. Another reason why I wouldn't be too keen with taking this entry here is because I mean the bias is still kind of bearish, or it's still kind of bullish. So let's take a look over here again. The higher time frames are more so bullish neutral, and the lower time frames here are pretty much just neutral now. So I'm going to make some adjustments right here. I'm going to take this off because I don't want you guys to think I'm in the position. So this is now neutral, and now this is bullish neutral. We already knew price was going to be somewhat bullish because of the sentiment over here. Looking over here at the fundamentals, it's currently still neutral right now. It's down -3 points, but it's not really doing too much. Yeah, exactly. Van Harwood said short squeeze, no prisoners. Yeah, that's exactly what's happening. They're squeezing price right now. The breakout's going to happen eventually. It's preparing for that breakout. I think the breakout's going to be to the upside. I've been saying that since the open of market. But again, we just need volatility to pick up. Volatility is still very low, 13 points. And it's still technically within this range. So you guys can see the same range that I drew earlier. It hasn't broken out of it yet. So again, this is opening price, the blue line. We need price to push away from here. Push away. If that's the case, if price pushes away, great. You know, we'll look for a buy position in between here. When price pulls back, we'll look for our buy position there. Vice versa, price goes down. I mean, that's fine too. I don't care where price goes. Price goes down, then great, we'll look for some sells at that point, right? When price retraces, we'll look for the sell. But right now, we don't have anything. So we're just waiting. All right, so price is starting to push up. Let's take a look at sentiment again. Sentiment's still at 76. So if price pushes up further and this number drops down to 75, you can already anticipate that people are getting stopped out. It's starting to go on a stop loss hunt. So it looks like price is starting to push right here, which is a good thing. All right, price is pushing up. The ATR is still at 13, but it's looking like it's starting to, it's going for a stop loss hunt. It's trying to stop all these people out over here. We'll let that stop loss hunt run through. We'll let it retrace back and we'll look for some possible entries if that's the case. But we can't take any entries here on the 1 minute because this buy signal here hasn't changed since. So we need to get a sell signal here to confirm retracement, and then we'll get the next buy signal as price pushes up further. All right, perfect. Price is starting to push out now. ATR is still at 13. Let's see if it picks up a little bit. Hopefully it does. That's all study stocks. Let me see if there's any other news events today. Nothing during the US session. I mean, so at 10 o'clock, there's the 5-year bond auction. Or the 5-year note auction at 10 o'clock, and then API crude oil stock change at 1 o'clock market close. So there's not really much news anymore going on. So there's no catalyst to really push price around. Anything that happens right now is going to be movement from market makers. There's no other catalyst here to push price through. The volatility is still kind of low. ATR is picking up a little bit. It's now at 13. It was at 14 for a second. All right, price is starting to push up. This is a good thing for us. I'm gonna start to move this up a little higher. All right, so there's no real confirmation here yet. ATR is still very low. It's at 13. There's no confirmation of direction here. So over here on the 1 minute, you can see that price is above the pivots. Pivots are angling up. Trend meters green. The pivots aren't like confirmed yet that they're actually shifting to the upside. So, I mean, technically, if you want to take a risky trade would happen right here. If you're doing the original 1 minute strategy. So if you want to do the original 1 minute strategy, it would happen right here. I personally wouldn't take it. The ATR is still too low. As I mentioned before, it has to be about above 15. It's still at 13 right now, so it's not very high. The volatility here is just a little too low. I'll mark it up for you guys if you guys want to follow it, but I'm not going to take the entry here. So I'm not going to take this position. Main reason for me not taking it is the volatility is too low. The last thing I want to do is be caught in this scalp move and be trapped in it for longer than I want to. Like, I don't want to be in a scalp move more than 5 minutes. 5 minutes is the max that I want to hold a scalp move. Anything past that is just, it's too risky because at that point price can break out. And it can either break out in your direction or it can break out opposite of your direction. So, and you can see the ATR here is getting smaller. It's not even at 13 anymore. It was at 13, 14, now it's back to 12. So again, the volatility here is just way too low for me to want to take anything. And if price here pushes up again a bit higher, then there's going to be another opportunity from there. So at that point, you can just look for a second entry or a second opportunity to take entry. 5 minute candle over here is going to close green most likely. Or maybe red. We'll see. All right, so the ATR is currently 13 still. Again, guys, I'm not in this position. I'm just marking it up for you guys. The ATR is too low right now. It needs to be above 15 for me to take any entries. The last thing I do is be caught in a position that I don't want to be in. But you guys can see the volatility here starting to pick up quite a bit. So I'm going to take this off. We'll go back and review it later if we want to, but right now I'm going to take it off because I don't want you guys to think that I'm in the position. I know sometimes people will step away, they'll come back and we'll see the markup here. and they'll enter the position because they think we're in it and they're trying to get in for a discount. But again, I'm not in the position. The ATR, hopefully it picks up above 15. It's 720 right now. It's still weird. The market still hasn't been moving very much from open. Here, I can show you guys an example. So let me show you guys an example of market from yesterday. So right now it's currently 719, right? Let's go back to 719 from Monday. So Monday at 719 over here. So around that time, let me just mark it right here. Monday, 719. Look at the ATR down right here at the bottom, right? I'm gonna go to this 719 from yesterday. It's at 18, right? Typically, that's the normal number for ATR. It should be a bit higher at this specific time because the volatility should be up. Right now, ATR is currently at 13. It's not a good number. It needs to be at least above 15. So in that case, that's something that I would take. But again, you know, the volatility right now, I just want to show you guys that the market really isn't moving right now. It's not a good time to make entry. So going back to that entry, I think it actually hit. So if anybody took that entry that I marked up right here, you can see it pulled back a little bit, but it actually hit. The volatility is still very low, so it's not necessarily a good trade in my opinion, but it did hit TP right here. So again, I'm not in this position. I didn't take it, so it's not going to count as a win. I'm only counting the trades that I actually take. So just being 100% transparent with you guys, this trade did hit, but I'm not in it. So it's not going to count. If I took it, it would count, but I didn't take it. So just wanted to show you guys an example of the entry there and the strategy. I'm just hoping the volatility picks up in the next like 10 minutes or so, because there's just nothing for us to take here. Also, with this right here, we didn't have a new bullish momentum signal. So again, it's not an entry I would take because I take one per momentum, and there's no entries here that really came up. I mean, technically, I guess the entry could have happened right here because price did pull up right here, retrace, and the entry would have happened at some point earlier. But again, it's not an entry I would take, an entry I did not take. All right, so I think the volatility is picking up a little bit. I mean, it looks good from right here. Now we just got to wait for it to continue. Go and mark up one more level up here. So in order for us to have an entry here on the 1 minute, we need to get a sell signal. The sell signal is going to be a confirmation of retracement. Once we get that retracement, we can start looking for some more buys. But for right now, we don't have that confirmation. So we have to just wait for that to actually confirm. Because we've already used this buy signal. We need to have another buy signal come up so that we can start looking for possible entry. Yeah, exactly. Manny said the last green momentum was at 625 right here. So it's been a long time since a momentum signal has come up. ATR is starting to slow down again. You can see it's back to 12. That's horrible. It's a horrible market today. I'm glad that we came up with using the ATR because the ATR does help a lot with regard to identifying where movement's happening. So if you guys are in a position right now, I mean, the only thing I can tell you is to be careful because the volatility is so low and you might get caught in a squeeze. So like, I'm sure you guys know what a squeeze is. Well, most of you guys know what a squeeze is. When price kind of just goes sideways for a while before it starts to really catch its stride. I'm gonna draw another structure right here for the high. And again, right here, we just gotta wait for some sort of confirmation of volatility. So market opened over here at this blue line. You can see price is pretty much bouncing back and forth between this area. If you measure from opening price to here, price has really only moved about 300 pips. So 35 points or 350 pips from market open. Market opened right here at 6:30 about an hour ago. There's only been this much of a move. This is actually pretty crazy. I've never seen this move happen during actual like normal market. At least not that I can remember. I've been trading for a long time and I haven't seen the market this low in like on a regular trading day. I've seen market like this during a holiday, like during Christmas, during Thanksgiving, during New Year's. Markets, it's going to be like this because nobody's trading. But this here, I mean, it's crazy. This movement just hasn't there hasn't been any. Typically during the summer, it moves at least 500 pips. Like this is like normal movement. 500 pips is regular. Oh, whoops, wrong tool. So this is normal for a summer session. Like it can move either direction, either up or down, 500 pips or 50 points, whatever you want to consider at 500 points, 500 pips. This is regular for a summer day, like for the entire session, or not the entire session, but during our live session time. It moves at least this much. During fall, winter, spring, like high hours or like, high volatility time, it moves at least 1,500. So you'll see at least this very minimum. Most of the time you're going to see 1,500. So you can see the big difference between a regular day. And today's just, there's just no movement. It doesn't even move like the average. The average would be 500. It's only moving about 300. And then now it's coming back down to possibly opening price. Let's see, James is asking, how do you usually find August, Sean? So, the cool thing about us trading every year is that I have data for August. So let's take a look at August from last year. Right. So I'll just go over here. I'll pull up the data from August. Let's go to August or let's go to the end of the year. So I'll go to December over here. Okay, so August of last year, we took 20 trades and we had 2 losses. So August was actually very high. It was very busy. I don't know why it was moving that much last year, but it was moving a lot. So August of 2022, we had 20 wins and 2 losses. For July of last year, we only had 9 wins and 2 losses. So July last year was actually very slow. We're getting close to the end of July. So you can see over here from June and July, we had a slow month because it was only like about 10 trades or 12 trades we took last year. If we go over to 2021, and this is the benefit of like trading with us because we've been trading live for about, I don't know, we've been trading for about like 5 years now. So we have 5 years of data trading pretty much. Here, let's see. Okay, so for 2021, we so these were like, we were taking like, this was post-COVID. So during this time here, we were taking, or actually, sorry, that's wrong. Those are the wrong stats. Okay, the stats over here. We actually had a lot of trades in 2021. So 2021 over here, we had 36 trades in August, and then we had 38 trades in July. So, every year is kind of different. So you can't really gauge it by like how price moves, because you can see 2021 we had like almost 40 trades. 2022 we had about like 20 trades, so it kind of slowed down a little bit. I think 2020 is probably where we had the most craziest trades because that was COVID. Yeah, so let's go to December. Let's go to 2020 over here. So 2020, this is when I was still calling signals. So I was still calling signals back then. Yeah, so for 2020, we had about like 20 trades for indices, and then we had about like 60 trades for Forex, because I traded Forex and indices back then. So this is COVID time. This is when the market was super crazy. We had like maybe like 60 or 70 trades during August and July. So you can see that it changes. Every year is kind of different. I think August should pick up. August is a little better than July, because July is usually the dead period. It's like the high time for summer. June is like when summer starts, market's still kind of moving. July is when a lot of people are on vacation. August is people are starting to come back from vacation, and then September is when summer's over. So yeah, from the data that we have, that's pretty much what it looks like. I think August will be better, but again, I can't really say because the market is unpredictable, especially around this time. I think next year is going to be even crazier because, or not crazier, it's going to be better than this year because next year we have the elections. So you're going to have Trump running again. You're going to have him saying all this crazy stuff, and it's going to cause markets to really move compared to we had this year. I think this year is kind of just a regular year. If you guys haven't traded during a regular year, I think this year is considered a regular year compared to the others. 2020, we had COVID. 2021, we had post-COVID. 2022, it was still post-COVID. And then this year we have like possible recession, but it's not as serious as people kind of made it to seem. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, the ATR is still very low, guys. Unfortunately, it's still at 11. Not too much move. It's actually lower than it was earlier. The ATR picked up slightly over here, and then now it's back to, I mean, it's pretty flat. So here's the thing with the ATR, guys. This is why the ATR is important, because for our scalps over here on the 1 minute, we're going for about 100 pips, right? Like every time we take a trade here on the 1 minute, we're looking for a 100 pip move. Right, this is what our TP stop loss looks like. The thing is, if the ATR is low and it's below 15, then that's a problem, because if price fills your order, it's never going to hit your TP for like a good while. I mean, it'll probably hit your TP, but it's probably going to go sideways for a good, 10, 20 minutes, and then eventually it might hit your TP. That's a problem, because when you're scalping, you don't want to be stuck in the position for too long, because we have a negative risk to reward for the 1 minute. On the 5 minutes, it's a 1-to-1, but we need to have volatility for us to take that actual entry. So hopefully this is making sense to you guys when we're not trading. For a lot of you guys who are veteran traders in the group, you guys understand there's a reason why it's not a good time to trade right now. Like iPhone said, not worth trading today. If you guys have been around for a while, you guys know that when the market's slow, it's best to just sit out, because there's a breakout that's going to happen eventually. And the last thing you want to happen is you to get caught on the wrong side of the breakout. So unfortunately, the market is super dead right now. This is the most dead market I've seen in a long time. I haven't seen the market this slow. I don't think I've ever seen the market this slow, honestly, like not during a regular day. I thought the news today would actually be a catalyst, but it didn't really push price at all. And there's no news here either on CNBC. Typically, we have like breaking news like every couple hours. There's like nothing going on today. No breaking news. Let's check the Dow news. So again, right here, it says Dow's little change after 11-day rally. Let's see if there's any update here. Yeah, there's like nothing here that's really, there's not even any updates. The market's been open for over an hour right now, and they haven't had any updates since. So it's just one of those days where there's just nothing going on in the market. Usually there's a catalyst here. You'll hear CNBC giving some sort of news, because if they ever report on something, typically that'll be a catalyst and it'll push price, in one direction or the other. But I mean, another thing too, like what Tyler just said right now, Tyler said, it's wild it's taken this long for a retracement signal. Yeah, because, on the 1 minute time frame, typically we get a lot of signals. That's why the 1 minute's kind of messy. I mean, there's been pending signals, but not no actually closed. If this is the case right here where this closes, that's going to be a good thing, because that's going to indicate that volatility is starting to pick up, which it did not close. You can see right there, it failed. But yeah, just like what Tyler said, it's crazy that it's been this long with no momentum. Because if you look back over here, there's a momentum signal almost every couple minutes. But right now, it's been an hour since the last momentum signal. That's the longest I've seen on the 1 minute time frame. So you can see over here, even during Lenin session, there's a buy signal right here. The sell signal came up within 26 minutes. And this isn't even US session. Again, right here during Lenin session, this is at 1:55 slow time. This is the sell signal, and the buy signal came up here in 24 minutes. Compared to right now specifically, this buy signal came up right here, and this pending sell signal, it's been an hour and 10 minutes for a 1 minute momentum. Like, this is another sign to show that there's not really much movement in the market. Okay, we finally got the sell signal here. Okay, I think now market might pick up a little bit now that we have another sell signal. Let's take a look at the ATR. All right, ATR is picking up slightly. It's at 12 right now. So I'm hoping that as price continues to push long, the ATR here will pick up. Again, if I see another entry here, I'll mark it up for you guys. We're looking for a buy signal. So we're looking for a buy signal to confirm the correction to the upside. Once we get that buy signal, we're going to look for retracement. Once we have a retracement, I'll be able to mark an entry for you guys. So right now, we're basically just waiting for another buy signal to come up because our direction right now is bullish. And that's all we're waiting for at this moment. So, but that's crazy. You can see that the sell signal right here. So it took about an hour and 8 minutes for one sell signal to come up during New York session. And this is the actual session for this asset. Now we're hoping that price picks up a little bit, at least a little bit. I mean, just enough for us to take an entry here or identify an entry at least. Yeah, Tyler said had it manifested into existence there. I know, right? It's crazy that you mentioned that, Tyler, because I didn't even realize that until you mentioned it. I know we were waiting for a momentum signal, but I didn't realize it took almost an hour for it, or over an hour for it to come up over here. Looks like volatility is starting to pick up again. This is a good thing. ATR is back to 12. It was like at 10, 11. Now it's back at 12. Again, we need it to be above 15. But if it gets close to 15, then there may be opportunity for you to take entry here for one of these moves. It does not look like we're going to get anything here on the 5. Or actually, we did get something right here on the 5, but it's not a clean entry. So if you look over here on the 5, we did have this retracement candle right here. However, there's no confirmation of bullish direction yet. You can see that the trend meter down below is still red. The pivots are not really angling up yet, and price is kind of in between the pivots. It's not above it and sitting above it. It's kind of just going sideways right here. So yeah, unfortunately, there's no entry here on the 5-minute, but there may be an entry over here on the 1-minute if we do get a buy signal at some point. I'm trying to remember what this was right here. Was there other news this morning? I think there was, right? 6 o'clock. Okay, that was a 6 o'clock news, I believe. Yeah, 6 o'clock news. All right, so the 5-minute is not really going to be too useful for us right now, guys, because there's no confirmation of direction. The only time frame that we may have an entry for would be over here on the 1-minute. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to maximize the one, or I'll leave it like this as is for now. And then I'll maximize this right now. Okay, so we currently have a buy signal right here. The only problem is the ATR is still very low. It's at 11. So the volatility still isn't picked up yet. If I do see an entry here, I'll mark it up for you guys. I'm probably not going to take it. I'll let you guys know if I do take it. I don't want to go against my criteria, right? You got to stick to the game plan, guys. If the market's not giving you what you need, then you have to stick to the game plan. If price pushes up higher from where it's currently at, then you can possibly have an entry here. Or if it closes above this black line, the entry would technically be right here at this whole number at the 80. So I'm not in this position right here, guys. I'm just going to mark it up for you guys. I think the market's still too slow for me to want to take an entry right here, but this is technically where the entry would happen. So I think this is kind of risky. The volatility is still very low, but the entry would be right here at the 80 mark if price does come down to that point. So if you guys want to take a risky entry, I've marked it up for you guys right there. I'm not taking it myself personally. I'd rather just wait. I wait for the volatility here to pick up a little bit. Yeah, there's not really too much movement. I mean, the order still hasn't filled. All right. ATR is still at 11. Yeah, this volatility. Yeah, Randy said it's still ranging, not taking this. Yeah, I'm not taking it either, guys. So I'm just marking it up for you guys to show you guys where the entry would have happened if there was volatility in the market. There's no volatility right now. The entry technically, I don't know if it filled yet. It looks like it would have filled. Yeah, so the entry technically would have filled right here, guys. Again, I'm not in this position, but I'm just leaving it up for you guys. I might delete this a little bit because I don't want you guys to think I'm in the position. Again, I don't want to keep warning you guys, but I'm not in this position, guys. I'm just marking it to show you guys where the entry would have happened if the volatility was high enough. Volatility is too low. ATR is still at 11. Kip said, I'm just mad I woke up early, but the market didn't. I know, right? Yeah, Maria also mentioned that the entry was between pivots. So I'm going to take this off. I don't want you guys to think I'm in the position because I'm not, obviously. But I did mark it up for you guys there to see where the possible entry would have happened. Position is now in profit, but again, I'm not going to enter this position here. The volatility is extremely slow right now. And the ATR is back to 10. All right. So there's just nothing for us to take here. I mean, we're just going to keep looking for. All right, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not really answering questions during the live session, but right now, there's just nothing for us to take here. This is probably the slowest market I've seen ever during a normal trading day. So I'm not expecting the market to pick up in the next 20 minutes. So if there's any questions that you guys have, just put your questions in the chat. I'll answer whatever you need help with. But unfortunately, it looks like we're not going to have anything today. So it looks like the position is probably going to hit CP. So here's a 1 minute over here. Let's put the thing back up. It's in profit, but not really messing with it. All right, let's see. We got some profits over here. So we've got, let's see, Kenny over here. Kenny took he took some trades over here on open. It looks like total profit of 3,660 for the day. So nice work right there, Kenny. And then we have Kenny's second account, total profit of 4,100 for the day. So Kenny actually took some pretty good trades here. I don't know what you took, Kenny. I'm assuming you took it off. So I'm looking at where your entries came in from, and it looks like you took price. You basically took it back to open price. That's what it looks like. And it looks like you might have taken partial breakouts. Yeah, it looks like the first trade over here at 631, you took the breakout. You took it for 100 pips. And then you got your TP right there. And it looks like your other trades over here, you took price as they went back to open, basically. So nice work right there, Kenny. We have Jeff over here as well. Jeff locked in a total profit of 752 for the day. Nice work, Jeff. Jeff took these entries pre-market, so it looked good. Let's see, we've got Kevin over here. Kevin locked in a total profit of 23,741. This is crazy that you locked in this much, Kevin. I don't know how you did it. Market was too slow for me. But yeah, it looks like you locked in some pretty good profit here. So nice work right there, Kevin. Kevin locked in 23,741 for the day. We've got Patricia over here. She took about 3 trades. Looks like she took 1 trade here pre-market, 1 trade here on open, and then 1 trade over here slightly after open. Looks like she took some movements back to opening price. That's something I would have taken too. It looks like you might have taken a V1 somewhere, but for the most part, I think the bounces off the low end. Let's try that. So bounces off this low end over here is where I probably would have taken trades back to open, right? Because we had a bullish bias, and every time price came down to these points, you could have caught like a V1 variation from there and then just write it back to the opening price. So nice work, Patricia. Total profit of 3,250 for the day. What else we've got here? Randy over here, total profit of 535 for the day. Took this at 720. Let's see. So Randy took that trade at 720 over here. It looks like he got into this right here, the V1 variation. So it looks like and I can just tell, like whenever you guys show me profits, I can just look at the timestamp. So he entered right there at 720, and I can see exactly where he entered from. He entered right here at 720. It was a V1 variation. Nice work, Randy. So if you guys are familiar with the V1 variation, that's where the entry came in from. Randy took that for a quick 100 pips, it looks like. Yep, full TP. Great work, Randy. So if you guys know my strategies, you guys can apply whatever strategy you like. You don't have to apply the stuff that we're taking here on the live session, because obviously on some days like this, you're not going to have any entries, right? Some days you will, some days you won't. But other people here in the group know my other strategies and they take them. So nice work right there, Randy, with your full TP off that trade. We've got Shiv over here. So Shiv said not sure, delaying closing, but secured 54 USD today on that trade as it was above 2 pivots. Gotcha. Yeah, probably hasn't updated yet. I can see right here you have your total PL 54. So nice work right there, Shiv. Yeah, Shiv said 150 to 150, 129, another 800, 8,800 to go. Yeah, the good thing with this is you don't have to rush it. So you should be good right there, Shiv. Looks like a lot of you guys here actually took the trade that we marked up. So let me mark that up again. Where was it at? Okay, there we go. So this is the momentum pullback scalp that I marked up right there. It looks like Nathan caught it as well. So Nathan here took that trade, total profit of 1,210 with a full TP. Nice work, Nathan. So as you guys can see, I'm giving you guys these trades. It's up to you guys whether you want to take it or not. I'm not taking it, so it's not going to count as an official trade, even though it did hit here and people did profit. I'm not going to count that trade. I'm only counting the trades that I'm personally taking myself. So Nathan here took that same trade, said he took it, total profit of 1,200. Nice work, Nathan. Patricia over here too. Yeah, she took off the V1s. Nice. Yeah, Lowe's said randomly jumped on your live yesterday, made me the quickest 2K of my life. Thank you. Yeah, no, definitely Lowe's, 100%. Other than that, I think that might be it for now. Let me see if there's anything else. All right, I think I'm done going through the messages for today. So let's see. Maria said, actually, with your rules, it was a loss. Yes, let me look at that real quick. So there's a buy signal right there, price pulled back. Yes, Maria is right. If you guys took this trade and you were following my rules, this technically I would have pulled out early for a loss right here. It'd be a small loss though for 2 points, so it wouldn't really be too much. But yeah, technically I would have closed this early for a loss right there with the sell signal versus, even though it did hit TP. But again, like everybody kind of applies my strategies differently. Sometimes they'll just hold on to the position. Sometimes they'll take them. Sometimes they'll close out early. For me personally, I would have closed out early at the sell signal. But I mean, it's just, it's just this market, guys. This market is not the type of market I want to mess with. There's another entry right here, actually. It hasn't filled yet. So if anybody's looking for an entry, there's one more opportunity right here. I don't know if this signal right here was or this candle was a red one. That was green. So there's another opportunity here for a momentum pullback scalp if price pulls back and fills at this point. Again, I'm not really looking to take it because obvious reasons. Volatility here is extremely low. You can see the ETR is still at 10. Yeah, it's just not moving smoothly enough. So what I would look at is I would look over here on the 5-minute, because the 5-minute would actually give you a better, I mean, it's a big move though, 200. I mean, it depends on how this candle closes. If this candle closes red, then technically the entry would be, the entry would have been, or it'd be farther down from this area right here. I can't tell how this candle over here closed off the 1-minute, because technically if this was red, the entry would have happened off this red candle right here. But if not, then the entry would still happen right here. It still wouldn't have filled yet. So the trade technically has not filled yet. You'd have to wait for another retracement. So right here, we have the green momentum. This was the retracement. Entry would have happened right here. It never filled. This candle over here pushed up higher. So this red candle over here would be another reset of the entry. So if this candle over here closes above this black line right here, the entry is going to happen right there. I'm also looking over here at the 5 minute because the 5 minute is going to have the same entry point. ATR for this is about, let's see, it's about 20 points. So, I mean, technically there's an entry. If price comes down and fills this point right here, there's technically, these entries overlap. So there's going to be an entry for the 1 minute. There's also going to be an entry for the 5 minute. The 1 minute here would be for 100 pips. The 5 minute over here would be for 200 pips. Because the ATR right now is currently, actually it's 19. Yeah. So the ATR for this one right here would be 19. But again, it's getting close to 8 o'clock, guys. So it's not really like the best time to make entry. But if you guys are looking to take entry right here, that's where the entry would happen. At that point right there, there's a sell signal though. So at this point, you probably wouldn't take it on the 1 minute. The 5 minute here could still technically run, but the 1 minute for sure would not be an entry right there. You'd have to close that for a small loss if that was the case. If you're following the rules, again, it'd be a small loss, 3 points, nothing too crazy. But the 5 minute here technically would still be running. Not in the position though. I was tempted to take this 5 minute over here though. I wasn't looking at the 1 minute too much because, as I mentioned, the ATR is actually lower. It's now at 9, so it's even worse. But the 5 minute over here, I was looking like, it was looking like an okay entry. I mean, I'm probably not going to take it though. I'll watch it, but I'm not going to take it. It's getting too close to 8 o'clock. Yeah, I wouldn't take the 1 minute here because the ATR is too low. It just wouldn't meet criteria. You need your ATR above 15. Same with the 5 minute here, you need your ATR above 15. But this over here, it'll probably take a long time for it to hit. Eventually it'll probably hit. Like it'll probably take like maybe 30 minutes to an hour for it to hit. But I think eventually it would hit. Let's see, Talanji said he took the past, let me see. Yeah, Talanji said he took the past 32 past breakouts to a 95% TP, which took an hour. I know this was a bad entry, but could you analyze and see if there was an official entry? So I don't think there was an entry today because there was no overall bias. I don't remember what it was earlier on this chart here, but I don't think there was an overall bias for today, Talanji. I'll take a look though. So I'll take a look on the clean chart and see if we can find possible entry on that. But I mean, depends on like which way you're applying the breakout. Because for when I apply the breakout, I use an overall bias, which I don't typically. I mean, not everybody uses. Some people don't even use a bias; they just look for the first momentum direction. So yeah, I mean, we can take a look at that. Patricia over here also mentioned. She said, "Don't like that 1 minute sell momentum." Yeah, I don't like it either, Patricia, at all. That's why I didn't take any. I didn't take any of them here. I didn't take the 5 or the 1 minute. So, I mean, let's take a look real quick over here on the clean chart, or we'll go to this chart actually. There's no markups on here. Right, so Talanji is asking if there was a breakout this morning. So let's go over here real quick. Okay, so we had a bullish momentum right here. Market opened over here. Yeah, so this was in a downwards trend right here, Talanji. There's no sell signal. If a sell signal came up, you'd have an entry here. But the sell signal never came up, right? You only look for the breakout within the first 5 minutes of the market open, right there. And there wouldn't be an entry there. You still have to trade in the direction of the trend. So, I mean, depending on how you would have applied it, there's a couple different ways for you to apply it. Like, for example, like I mentioned, you want to look in the direction of the trend. We had a sell trend over here, sell direction of bias. There's no sell signal. But if you were doing it the other way, and I know some people like to do it this way, where you don't have any trend, you just look for direction of momentum. Let me see if there's any entry here. You technically could have had an entry right here, it looks like. Or actually, let me see, the wick on top's too big. All right, so market opened over here at 630. You're looking for a strong bullish candle. This is not a strong bullish candle because there's a big wick right here on top. Next candle, same thing, there's no strong bullish candle. And then, yeah, right there, it's still no strong bullish candles, big wicks like everywhere right there. Now right there's a doji, wouldn't be an entry, big wick. Yeah, so I actually don't see any entry here at all. Yes, unfortunately, no entry there, Solange. Yeah, Solange said, yeah, 32 pass was my entry, got lucky. So you got in at 702. Yeah, if you got in like way down here, I'm assuming you got in like right here then, because this is like the 0632. Oh yeah, okay. So this is like where you maybe could have got it, but yeah, it's a bad entry. The wick on top is just too big. But that's the only possible entry that I could see you taking maybe. And then I don't know, what'd you go for? Did you go for 100 pips? Or you went for like 300? It depends. The volatility was too low, so you probably would have went for like 250. 250 or 200. Oh, 500. So Solange actually held on to this position for the regular breakout, even though the volatility was extremely low. So Solange held on to this breakout for a long time. And then he got out for a partial profit right there for 95%. So he got out at 450 right here. Yeah, you got really lucky with that one, Solange. I mean, I'm glad it hit for you, but yeah, this right here is a little too risky in my opinion. All right, so let's see if there's any other questions that you guys have, feel free to put them in the chat. Unfortunately, guys, it looks like there's no entries for us today. I was really hoping we'd be able to catch at least one entry today, but it's not looking like it. The 5-minute entry over here is still technically running, but there's no confirmation of direction yet. I mean, price is technically still bullish here, but it's not really moving too smooth, as you guys can see. So, I mean, yeah, if there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to wrap this up for the day. This is like one of the worst trading days that I've experienced in a long time. Not necessarily worse as in like it was a bad trading day for us. It was just the volatility here was the worst I've ever seen during a normal trading day. I could understand that we're trading in the summer. So it's like we're trading in the summer. So the market's supposed to be slow, but not this slow. This is like way too slow. Like I haven't seen a day like this in a long time. This is like holiday movement because if you measure it, so let's measure again from opening price. Market open over here at the blue line. Price is only pushed up 300 pips. So that's pretty crazy in comparison to like last week. So like, for example, we go to let's go to yesterday. So if we go to yesterday, okay, so market opened over here at 630. So by 8 o'clock, price moved up 1,500 pips. So this is yesterday, 1,500 pips within 6:30 to 8 o'clock. Today, 6:30 to 8 o'clock, price has only moved up. Well, where price is currently at right now, it's at 300 pips, actually less. Moved up a total of 490 pips. So it moved basically a third of the movement yesterday. And yesterday, there wasn't even really much news. There was actually more news today. So, I mean, it is what it is. This is one of those days where you probably just want to sit out of the market and not really trade until the volatility here starts to pick up, which I don't think will pick up today, at least maybe not until later in the afternoon. like in the next 3 hours or so as we get closer to market close. Let's see, one last question over here from Talanji. Talanji's asking one question: any tips for increase the credit score of your LLC? I mean, you can't really increase the credit score of your LLC. It's by years of business, Talanji. So you don't really have a credit score either. It's kind of like I mean, the only way that you can do that is you can go buy a shell company. Like there's people who sell shell companies that have been around for like 5 or whatever years. Yeah, so Rashida said do net 30s account. I'm not familiar with that, but if you want to look into that, Solange, Rashida says do net 30s account. You can buy like aged companies, like aged corporations. I haven't done it myself, but that's something that you can do if you really wanted to. Or you can do what Rashida mentioned right here, do net 30s account. So you can check that out. Shiv said he's up 250 for the day. He's calling it. I'm gonna call it too. There's no reason for me to force anything today. There's just no point. We have Dave over here as well. So Dave locked in a total profit of 1362 for the day. Nice work, Dave, off his first account. Here goes Dave's second account, total profit of 2630. Here is Dave's third account, total profit of 6210. Dave's fourth account, total profit of 323 for the day. And here we go with Dave's fifth account, total profit of 165 for the day, all wins. So nice work right there, Dave. He said super slow day as well for him. We've got Shiv over here. Shiv is currently up 158 for the day so far. Nice work, Shiv. Yeah, Shiv said the fees are very hefty. Yeah, they are. Yeah, since you're trading on the futures market, guys, and it's US regulated, the fees are going to be pretty high for futures and stuff. So a lot of guys are not used to it, but unfortunately, that's the case. So here's Lowe's over here, locking a total profit of 1,914 for the day. Nice work, Lowe's. Yeah, Lowe's said that she just randomly hopped onto the live session, took the trade, and then locked in about 2,000 for that. So nice work right there, Lowe's. We've got Dejan over here. He got into an earlier high-low scalp, total profit of 960 for the day. Nice work, Dejan. Yeah, he wasn't able to take it on his top step because he doesn't know how it works yet, but he locked it on his FTMO. So nice work right there, Dejan. All right, so I think that might be it, guys. If there's any other questions that you guys have, feel free to reach out. You guys can email me or message me on Telegram. Otherwise, if you guys don't need a trade today, I would just sit it out. The ATR again is at 7 points. That's extremely low compared to what we're used to. It should be above like 20 points right now. But with the market so slow like this, like I wouldn't even bother trading. There's just no point. Price is just going to go sideways. And then when it breaks out, it's either going to spike to your TP or it's going to spike to your stop loss. I wouldn't take that risk. It's not worth the risk because you're kind of just gambling at that point. So, all right, guys, if you guys have questions, reach